Welcome to Vape News Radio, the voice of vaping. In each show, we share the latest about regulations and things you need to know, plus upcoming conferences and fests, along with interviews with the movers and shakers in this fabulous vape space. Are you looking to get into this ever-expanding marketplace? Do you want to master this industry? Listen up as Norm Bauer, the vape mentor, shares it all. And here's your host, Norm Bauer.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to show number 61. This is Vape Radio, and this is your host, Norm Bauer, the founder and president of Vape Mentors. We are the largest educational and consulting company specializing in the vape space, and we've got a lot of really amazing things to share with you today. Before we do that, I want to introduce you to one of our very, very special sponsors. They are known as the Council of Vapor, and we want to welcome them to our show. You may have probably heard of the Council of Vapor, and here's how it works. If you have a concept for a mod or a pen of any style, these are the pros that you want to speak with. They create sleek, high-quality vaping hardware and will help with your design, prototype, and your manufacturing. They already produce some of the top sellers out there, including the Royal Hunter and the Kindred lines, and they only create high-quality products. But that's just the beginning. They just opened up one of the largest e-liquid production centers in the country with over 50,000 square feet under one roof. I have been there, and they already manufacture for some of the top names in the industry, and they want to work with you. They'll help you with your hardware or your e-liquid needs, no matter what size company you have. You can learn more at thecouncilofvapor.com. They're rolling out a brand new line of e-liquids called Osmos with 8 new flavors ranging from sweet desserts to cocktail juices. What's so special and different about them? Well, they're willing to show you, and if you contact them and mention Vape Radio, they'll send you an exclusive sample pack of all 8 flavors. Once again, that website is thecouncilofvapor.com. I am recording this on the very beginning of the fourth quarter of 2015. We are now heading into the very end of the year, and we've got a lot of amazing information to catch up with. First off, we want to thank all of our amazing listeners worldwide. In the month of August, we hit a new high of 65,500 downloads, and for the month that just passed, September, we crushed that number with 82,563, which is a 25% increase. That included a one-time top day of 5,300 downloads, which happened during the month of September. We're past 700,000 downloads lifetime cumulative, and we're looking for the magic $1 million mark in the next few months. As a matter of fact, check this out. We're going to be offering a contest as we get closer to that mark, and we're going to ask you to predict on the exact day that we cross over into the 1 million mark. Stay tuned because we're going to have to come up with some type of an awesome prize for you. But enough about that. And since here we are at the beginning of the last quarter of 2015, I wanted to bring you up to speed. There's several events that are going on. Even though we're coming into the tail end of the year, it doesn't mean that the vape space slows down at all. Coming up in Richmond, Virginia, we have VapeCon East. That's going to be coming up in the month of October. In Phoenix, Arizona, we have Vapor Dynasty. We also have the inaugural American Vapor Convention in Irving, Texas. And last but not least, we have Vape Nights in Ontario, California over Halloween weekend. I will be at 2 of them as a speaker. I'm going to be speaking in Phoenix and I'm going to be speaking in Ontario. So if you are planning to attend either or both of those shows, please let me know. I'd love to connect with you. For our international audience, we have not forgotten you since that's about 25% of you. We have the second CECMOL, that's CECMOL Expo that's coming up in Shenzhen, China. And you know what? That's where almost all of our hardware comes from in this one city. And this is a place I would love to go since I find it fascinating. So much of our market originates in just that one very, very large city. We also have coming up in November 7 more events, including 2 newbies. One of them is in Poland, other one is in Ireland. People always ask me, they say, is this a trend? Is this a fad? Is this vape space going away? And here's my opinion, and I think I echo the sentiment of a lot of people who are obviously brilliant in what they do. I do not think so, not based on this activity and the projections of the industry growing to be $10 billion in the next 30 months. That's by 2018. Here's what you can count on. This vape space will absolutely be different. Once the FDA regs come out, you're going to have a whole series of different changes that are going to be coming out. And with that the case, we wanted to talk to you about one of the biggest areas of uncertainty, which of course is the pending FDA regulations. We're putting together not one, but two of the top legal minds in this space. A gentleman by the name of Azim Chowdhury, he's an attorney with Keller and Heckman in D.C. He has been one of our VapeU instructors for the past year. He taught in our brick and mortar program, and he also taught in our e-liquid program. But keep the date of October 26th open because we are doing a 1-hour webinar with Azim. It's free if you are in the business. You're going to have to go online. You're going to have to put down the name and the information on your business, and we're going to be addressing how to do that in a very short period of time. And what we're going to be talking about is how to FDA-proof your brick and mortar or your e-liquid business. The reality of it is, guys, is that no matter what line of business that you are in, if you are in the vape space, these laws will absolutely impact you. If you are an e-liquid manufacturer, it's going to impact you directly. If you are a brick and mortar, it's certainly going to impact the products that you carry. And if you are a brick and mortar that has your own house line, your house brand, then obviously it affects you as well. But what's interesting is the vape space, as I've mentioned many, many times, is very dynamic, is very changing. And so you have a huge ripple effect that's going to permeate throughout the entire industry. After Azim talks on the 26th of October, 2 days later on the 28th, we have another prominent attorney. His name is Bryan Haynes. He is with Troutman and Sanders, and he will be focusing on a little bit of a different segment. If we look at the vaping market, we have two very distinctive markets. We have the VTM market, which is the vapor tanks and mods. That's the e-liquid and the brick and mortar primarily. And then on the other side, we have the e-cigs, we have the C-stores, we have the closed systems, and these are for right now dominated by what we call big tobacco or medium tobacco. So on that day of October 28th, we're going to be having a 1-hour webinar with Bryan Haynes talking about those three things, e-cigs, closed system, and C-stores, and how all those entities can protect themselves. This controversy about closed system comes up all the time, and for those of you who have listened to our shows, you might remember an interview I did with RJ Reynolds back several months ago where they were highly critical of the vaping industry, and they pissed a lot of people off, and I called them to the table. But the reality of it is that they did have some validity behind their arguments, and so I can't say that they made me a believer, but I certainly understood their position and where they're coming from. So there's two different markets. We have the brick and mortar and e-liquid, and then we have the closed tank system. So this second workshop is going to be, again, free if you are in the business of vaping. If you are a consumer, we absolutely invite you to attend. We're going to be charging a small fee of $47 for one workshop, $79 for both of them. They are going to be available to you live on that Monday and Wednesday night at the end of October. And if you happen to miss it or hear this recording after the fact, they are going to be recorded and we're going to be offering them again as an archive program. Speaking of archives, for those of you who have been, again, followers of the show, you might know that our company, Vape Mentors, we are the leaders in the online training program, and we developed two programs called VapeU, as in Vape University. One of them was specifically for brick and mortar, and the other one was for the e-liquid market. And so we have these packaged up and available to you for purchase. If you want to get into the vape space and you can afford less than $100, we put together a package just for you. For $97, here's what you get. You get two of our most popular VapeU classes, class number 1 and class number 2. Class number 1 was about developing a business strategy, and that's where it all starts. Class number 2 was on branding and competitive positioning. And if you just listen to those two, you're going to be light years ahead of the average person who doesn't. For $97, you also get two of our bonus videos we have put together in what we call the Essentials package, which kind of takes you from inception to actually launch, including a soft launch. So all that is in there. We have forms, we have templates, we have a business modeling template, and we also have a 90-day template for launching. And then we also have the second edition of our book, Vapreneur. So again, for those of you who may have purchased Vapreneur in the last year, we thank you so much for that. My business partner, Maria Vervin, and I, we went through and we updated it for 2015, 2016. So for $97, again, you get two VapeU classes, you get the bonus video, you get forms, you get templates, and you get the latest second edition of Vapreneur. If you want more than that, we also have a secondary package which includes the rest of the VapeU program for those people who are beyond curious. but are serious about getting into the business. So these are all going to be coming available within the next couple of weeks. By the time you hear this episode here, they will probably be available. I want to talk for a moment about what I consider the person to be the goddess of the vaping industry. Her name is Bonnie Herzog. She is with Wells Fargo Financial. She is a very significant player in the vaping industry, and she comes from the institutional side. She works for a huge company, guys. She works for a public company under a lot of scrutiny, and she covers the vaping industry, tobacco, convenience stores, alcohol, basically a lot of things that a lot of your convenience stores offer. And she is actually the one who puts together a lot of the surveys and a lot of the data. So when we say that this industry is $3.5 billion and projected to be $10 billion by 2018, that information is coming from her and the results of the annual survey that she has been doing the last several years, which I have been very fortunate to be part of as well. But here's what's interesting. There's been some interesting consolidation within the industry. Obviously, Reynolds and Lorillard, they kind of combined forces, and we're going to be seeing the merging, which has been approved. That's going to be changing that marketplace. And another merger that is pending is not an actual merging of companies, but a merging of intellectual property or technology. BAT, which is British American Tobacco, for those of you who are listening overseas, and by the way, the UK is our second biggest market, British American Tobacco and Reynolds, they've signed what they call a vapor product technology sharing term sheet. It's a collaboration. That's really all it is. This collaboration is going to be good for almost 10 years until the end of December 2022. What that means is that the heavyweights in the industry realize that sometimes they're better off working together than against each other. So you are seeing, as this is coming true, that the heavyweights are sharing technology, they're sharing secrets, and they're collaborating. The question for you folks is that good? Is that not good? And everyone's going to have their own opinion, so you be the judge. On one hand, it may result in some great new products and some great new technology, which everyone acknowledges is something that we need to do. And the truth is that, yes, big tobacco is out to crush us. But the reality of it is that I do not see them getting into the vape space the way most of you are who are listening right now. They are probably not going to get into the retail level. They are probably going to stay with the closed tank systems. And unfortunately, they're going to try to direct the marketplace to go towards the closed tank systems. And they also do want to have the vaping technology and the vaping industry. They do want to classify that as a tobacco product, which most of us here in the VTM industry, we don't want that because we acknowledge that tobacco and vaping are two different things. We are not a carcinogenic product. We don't have any tar. Sometimes, a lot of cases, we don't have nicotine. So you really can't put them in one category. And what's interesting is that the FDA head out there, Mitch Zeller, he said the same thing. I heard him speak back in Vegas in spring. And he acknowledged, without really putting his foot in his mouth, he acknowledged that maybe there needs to be a third category specifically for the vaping industry. And here's a few teasers of some things that are going to be coming up between now and the end of 2015. We're working with a network marketing company that has combined network marketing with vaping, which I think is actually very, very clever. And so there's a lot of you out there right now that you don't have the thousands of dollars or the tens of thousands of dollars it takes to start a business. But here's one you can start for free. The reality is vaping is very passionate. And a lot of people, once they start, they already share what they know. They share their skills at crafting and being a technician. They share the mods. They share the e-liquids. Well, here's a way that you can share products and get paid. And it's as easy as that. We are not ready to announce all the information right now, but we will for our next show. But for those of you who are interested in monetizing the vaping industry and you don't have a lot of money and you have a lot of passion for the industry, just send me a note, norm@vapementors.com, and I will be happy to send you some information or even have a personal conversation with you. And here's another program that is rolling out between now and the end of the year. So if you are a brick and mortar shop and you do not have your own house brand, I want you to pay attention. According to the statistics, about 55 to 60% of you already have your own house line, but there's a potential other shoe that's ready to fall there. In many cases, you are not being produced by a top quality manufacturing facility that's not going to stand up to FDA scrutiny once they come up with their regs. So there's two different marketplaces I'm speaking to right now. One is the brick and mortar shops that have your own line that you think that you're probably not going to be able to continue doing what you're doing. And on the other hand, there's a lot of you who are listening who do have brick and mortar shops who do not have your own house line. So what we've done is that we have put together a quick 8-week program to launch your own line of e-liquids. We have joined with some of the top manufacturers in the business, and we're going to help you with branding, competitive positioning, basically everything you want to know. And this is a project we've been working on for quite some time. So if either one of those categories sounds for you, if you are brick and mortar and not quite 100% comfortable with your manufacturing facilities, then obviously we want you to get a hold of us. Or if you are a brick and mortar and do not have your own house brand yet, we're going to help you launch it. And we have been beta testing this model since about 60 days. It kind of got all the bugs worked out. And the reality of this is that by having your own house brand, your profit potential has the ability to go up by 50%. So for those of you who are in the vape space, you can kind of think that through. And for those of you who are thinking about getting into the vape space, we can help you do that as well. What's coming up on our next show? Well, it's hard to believe that we are coming to the end of this show right now, which is episode number 61. And with our next episode, is coming up immediately after this, is that we're going to be interviewing Council of Vapor, who is one of our sponsors. They're going to be sharing their innovative program, which can help you develop your own hardware lines. And on a future show, we're going to introduce you to one of what we consider to be the most innovative product that we have seen in quite some time. It's called Latitude. It's a vaping device that eliminates secondhand vapor, as in secondhand smoke. There's a lot of you cloud chasers out there who, unfortunately, you like to do this in the public, and it puts a very bad stigma in the eyes of the public. But here's a way that you can vape in a stealth mode. You could be sitting in a library, you could be sitting in a restaurant, and you could be vaping into this device. Your secondhand smoke is contained, and this should be available after the first of the year. So we have an interview coming up with the folks at Latitude in the next show. So for all of you whiners out there that are complaining about cloud chasers, take that to the bank. What we want to know is that we are readying for 2016 our next series of online courses. VapeU, of course, has been going now for quite some time. One is for brick and mortar, one is for e-liquids, and so we want to know, are there any courses, are there any training programs that you would like us to offer? If you do have those, then please let us know. You can just send a note to Norm at vapementors.com. In our next shows, we have coming up the interview with the multi-level people who are launching a vaping product. We have a brand new vape shop of the month, and that is a shop called Vapors Vault in Indiana. And Indiana has been under a lot of controversy lately because the governor signed a bill that will basically make a requirement that if you do business in the state of Indiana, you need to get approved by the state of Indiana for any nicotine products. So as we come to the end of this segment, we want to thank one of our sponsors, one of our supporters. They are called Nic Select, and they are one of our favorites. As a matter of fact, they are our favorite nicotine supplier. And here's the analogy. If you look at margaritas, the best margaritas, they all use top shelf tequilas. If you use cheap tequila, you're going to ruin a perfectly good margarita. The same is true of nicotine. You can ruin a perfectly good e-liquid by using cheap nicotine that overpowers rather than enhances the overall flavor and experience. That's why we at Vape Radio support Nic Select. You can actually taste the difference in their quality. Their subtle flavor delivers a smooth throat hit, which is what pharmacological grade nicotine should do. Put simply, you don't want to taste the nicotine. You don't want a peppery taste when you're vaping strawberry. They deliver without harshness or spicy aftertaste. Nic Select blends beautifully with other flavors, whether they're fruity or minty, fruity, sweet, or sultry, and that's why it's been used by many of the top e-liquid brands like Cutwood and Space Jam. Demand has been high for Nic Select, so they've increased their production, and you can get it blended with either 90% PG or VG in sizes from 5-gallon pails to 275-gallon totes. Check out all the e-liquid brands on the Nic Select website to see if your favorite brand is there, and if it's not, you need to ask your retail store where their nicotine is coming from. The best e-liquid makers select only the best nicotine, and that is Nic Select. For more information, visit nicselect.com. So guys, thank you so much for joining in on episode number 61. Don't go away. We're going to be coming back in just a moment with episode number 62.